Welcome to another episode of Catching Up with Coaches. I am Assistant Athletic Director for Media, Chris Sabato, and today I am here with head softball coach Paige Hall. Paige, thanks for joining us today. Let's start off with you're relatively new to Willamette, and so why don't you give us a little bit of a background about yourself and kind of how you ended up here at Willamette.
Yeah, so I started at Lewis and Clark College, which obviously is in the same conference as Willamette. I was there for about 6 years. Prior to that, I gave pitching instruction, private hitting lessons, and I still continue doing that even today. So my coach in college, one of my coaches is the head coach at Lewis and Clark. So she kind of recruited me to college, and then she recruited me to Lewis and Clark. And then, I was just kind of thinking that I loved being an assistant, and I loved that role, but I thought it was time to just up my career and try to be a head coach. So I know Isaac Parker, the football coach, and he kind of threw it out there like, hey, this position is open, and I think you should try and go for it. And so I applied, and I'm here now. So super happy to be at Willamette. I love it so far.
So you came in kind of late in the fall. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what what it was like, kind of you know stepping into things a little bit at the last minute and trying to pull things together, pull a season together without a whole lot of preparation.
Yeah, absolutely. It was hard, I'm not gonna lie. But it was fun, and it kind of didn't allow me to have time for the overthinking. I was just kind of thrown in there. And it was a little disappointing that I didn't get to know the girls as well as I wished I could have. With 2 weeks, I came in January, and we had a game 2 weeks after our season or our practices started. So it was crazy, but it was fun, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. Our seniors were amazing. They took a lot of leadership, and I had a lot of support from my coaches, my assistant coaches, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was hard, and everyone asked me that, but it was fun, and I think that everything happens for a reason, and yeah, we tried to have fun with it and control what we could control.
So, like you said, you didn't have a lot of time going into the season, but in that short amount of time, kind of where did you think your team was at the beginning of the season, and kind of what were your expectations for how the season would go?
Yeah, I think we started off fine, but I felt like we grew a lot, and that's what was so disappointing about this whole thing is I felt like, as a new coach coming into a new program, I knew the girls from playing them in the past, but we obviously had a lot of freshmen this year. So, learning everybody and finally getting the hang of everything and knowing exactly what we needed to work on, that kind of took some time for me. And it was funny because the day we had to end things and the day we kind of all found out was the day we had like the best team meeting, and we kind of came together as a group and talked about the mental approach to the game and our hitting and our defense and just kind of coming together as one. Which I felt like was probably hard for them, with a new coach starting in January. We didn't have a lot of time for that. So I felt like we were just starting to gel, and then this whole thing started. So kind of disappointing, but I'm excited to start up again in the fall,
So,
hopefully.
so talking a little bit about that, like tell me about how the team found out and kind of that whole process of going from uh, we've got a game this weekend to season's over.
Yeah, so they found out via email. And I was actually sitting in my office and I could see them down on Sparks. So I was kind of watching them and they were all reading the email. So I immediately called a team meeting, and we all met at the softball field. And of course, we cried. And it was hard, especially for our seniors. So, I just wanted to be there and have a team meeting just so that we could, talk about it all. There were tons of questions. Obviously, I think there still are questions, like what is the fall going to look like, and what does everything look like as of now? Um, but they took it better than I thought. The first day I think was very shocking to them, but they held it together pretty good. The seniors obviously had a really hard time, but they have bright futures ahead of them, so they're solid.
So, um, how so even for a coach who's been in the position for a long time, it would be hard to maintain culture, keep everything, keep the team together despite being so far apart. So how do you approach that? How do you keep your team together, um, not having really had even a half a year to totally connect with
Yeah, no, it's been a challenge. So I'm not great at social media, I'll be really honest, but we've been trying to figure out ways to like help keep them engaged, and doing fun challenges. So we've been doing weekly challenges where they will do a challenge and then nominate, three girls on the team to do that challenge. And I think it's engaging them a little bit more than what we were doing in the past. So we've been doing weekly or every other week Zoom meetings, which are awkward, but they're fun and we're kind of getting used to it. Um, and I know that they are communicating with each other, via text and Snapchat or whatever that they do. So, and I try and check in with them here and there, personally. So.
So looking forward, how do we how does the team transition from wherever we are right now into whatever's going to happen over the summer and the fall into maybe playing next year? Uh, what what is that? What do you kind of hope for out of that whole
I think my biggest hope is that things will go back to normal, and that we'll start in September, and we'll just continue to, we'll start where we left off. I think that's my biggest hope. I felt like we were on such a good path, and I hope that we can continue to grow as a culture, and going over those culture building ideas again, and what our vision is for this team, and just revisiting that and working hard. And I'm excited to push them and be on the field and those types of things. So yeah, my hope is that we can just kind of go back to normal. If that doesn't happen, then we just kind of have to roll with it and just keep doing what we're doing and getting creative. That's the hardest part, is being creative about this whole thing.
right? So we'll lighten things up a little bit and we'll move to the this or that. Um, I'm gonna give you two things and you pick which one and maybe give me a little maybe a reason. First thing, this or that, cardinal or gold?
Cardinal. I don't like gold.
Home games or away games?
Home games for sure.
I thought you might go the other way. Swick went the other way.
Really?
Well, I can see with baseball and softball, um, home games are more work.
Oh,
So
you're right. You're totally
away
right.
oh,
Gosh, see, I'm forgetting.
away games are easy. You just get on a bus, and when you're done, you get on the bus and you go home.
That is
No,
very
no
true.
field
I
maintenance.
just like the fact that my family can come to home games, so that's
That's
nice. But
um,
yeah.
bus trip or a plane trip?
I think bus trips are fun, just for like team culture and team building, and getting to know one another. I see this weekend, upcoming weekend, we would have been going to Whitworth. So that would have been a 5.5 hour bus trip. I'm not super mad about it, but
um, at the plate or in the field?
personally, or,
Whatever.
oh, well, I like to hit. I like to be on offense because we have an opportunity to score runs. I get so nervous when we're on defense. Like my blood. My heart is pounding. And so I like to be in control. I like to be at the plate and have that opportunity. So,
Okay, so this or that, if I can phrase it. Organized cheers or uh or just off the cuff.
I like more of the organized ones because then everybody's on sync, but I like the chatter too. Anything that just keeps them engaged, I'm cool with.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, I appreciate you joining me for this episode of Catching Up with Coaches, and hopefully we'll be back to normal at some point. And um, until then, we'll just keep on keeping on. And good luck to your team for the rest of the semester, and we'll catch up with you later.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for having me.
Have a good one.